So welcome to Renegade Bass Tour Classic here on Lake St. Francis. So it's a 2-day cumulative weight. We're going to go in order of top teams, and we're going to go right down to the top 40 qualifiers. Are you guys ready? 19 even, 1979, 2033, 2043, and we're down to our last team, 2067 to take the lead. Boom, there we go. There's your 2017 Renegade Bass Classic champions.
That's what we're talking about.
Every year for the last 21 years, Renegade Bass has hosted a team championship tournament in the waters of southern Ontario. Rookies and seasoned bass anglers compete in 4 qualifiers to determine who will advance to the Classic, where one team will be crowned the best of the best in Canadian bass fishing. With the title comes the largest payout in Canadian fishing, a $65,000 Ranger boat and Evinrude motor package. Last year, Lenny DeVos and Jeff Delage sat in the prize boat where they were named the 21st Renegade Bass Champions. It was after they were handed the trophy that the locations for the next season's qualifiers were selected. This season's qualifiers would be taking place at Newborough Lake, Lake St. Francis, the Ottawa River, and on the St. Lawrence River out of Morrisburg. On June 24th, the first qualifier for the 2017 season took place on Newborough Lake. This Eastern Ontario location is part of the Rideau River system and contains 5 lakes for the teams to fish on. Benson, Mosquito, Indian, Clear, and Newborough Lakes offered teams a number of options to focus on either smallmouth or largemouth bass. These waters hold prize-winning fish of both species, which could net these teams a win. The day began with clear and calm conditions, the complete opposite of the week of rain that the anglers experienced during their pre-fish. The early morning shallow bite was hot, and some of those teams were able to fill their live wells with a limit of fish, giving them the rest of the day to upgrade. The deep bite wasn't as strong. Some smallies found themselves on the end of a line, but they weren't the right quality that the teams needed. As the morning progressed, the bite seemed to slow down, leaving most of the field wondering what happened to their fish. Teams were left with the choice of leaving their spots, changing their patterns, or waiting on the sun to warm up the waters in the hope that the fish would begin to bite again.
No, we had a great pre-fish. We were on some big fish. That front that come through changed the smallie bite, killed it right off, so we had to readjust. I mean, we did get some smallies, but we had to change totally to go for largies, and we ended up mid-pack.
Yeah, Newborough didn't go that great for us, for sure.
We had smallmouth in all 3 bodies of water right there, and we were looking really good for a beautiful start to the year. And literally the Friday, the Thursday before, we had no problems, but tournament day, they just completely shut down.
Thought we had some fish going, and then the day totally changed, and I think we ended up in 33rd place. We had a terrible tournament.
High water levels and post-spawn bass made it a tough day on the water for most of the field. The afternoon sun wasn't necessarily turning things around for most of these contenders, leaving them struggling to find a pattern that worked. A successful day on these waters would come down to a team's ability to adapt and have options.
I hate this world. It's winning by punching, not just flipping in millful area with rocks in the bottom. But because we are 4 hours living from there, so we must only concentrate on easy fishing, on points, on rock. So I know I can win with our pattern, but it's why we finished 13, 14th position with smallmouth, but I know with what I got, we can win with 18, 19 pounds.
Although 18 and 19 pound bags eluded many of the top teams fishing Newborough, the option of getting a mixed bag could still get you a 3rd place finish.
Pre-fish was different for us because we were on the swim bait pretty heavy the one day, and that seemed to be what we were going to key on, but during the regular tournament it was completely different. The day before I went out and had found a bunch of fish on dock, so that's what we went into, to go and do. Turned out with all the rain though that the fish had actually moved back, and so they had actually come off the shoreline and were a little bit deeper, and that's just what we focused on the rest of the day.
In a repeat of the 2016 Classic finale, Dave Western and Dwayne Clifton would challenge Lenny DeVos and Jeff Delage for the top spot. They were the only two teams to weigh in 18-plus pound bags in a very close finish.
Started off the year on Newborough with a win. Jeff and I are pretty comfortable in that body of water, but that time of year it's anybody's game, but we just stuck to what we normally do and fortunate enough for a win.
Well, it's a great start to the season. To win the first one out of the gates keeps you up there for Team of the Year race. Prize money doesn't hurt.
Yeah, financially it's a huge boost. This is pretty much pays for our whole season.
The second qualifier took place on Lake St. Francis on July 8th. Located on the eastern end of the St. Lawrence Seaway, the lake offered teams deep areas to fish for smallmouth and a series of shallow water flats where teams could concentrate on both species. Teams had to contend with unusually high water levels and a fast current which had the potential to turn off their fish. And to cap it all off, the day began with rain, thunder, and lightning which delayed the launch, taking an hour of fishing away from the field. Lines were put out and the anglers waited to see if the storm affected their fish. And depending on which side of the lake they ran to, they either found themselves under cloud cover or in the comfort of the sun.
It was a tough weather day for us with what we like to do, and I think we had, 15 or 16 pounds that day, and, disappointing for sure.
Those fishing for smallmouth would be dealing with fish in a transitional phase. Their fish were gone, or if they were there, they couldn't get them to react. Some teams were getting fish to the boat, but they weren't the right ones.
The practice was phenomenal, but the guys that did well that day, they made a switch to largemouth partway through the day, and we didn't catch on to that, and we didn't have anything to go to when things weren't working. So we were pretty disappointed with the finish we had for that one.
So it seemed that the largemouth bite was the one to bet on, but that didn't mean it was an easy day for the teams that focused on the shallows.
It was a hard day, and we were really surprised to finish sixth because we thought that it would be win like big bag in the 20 range.
We got a lot of fish in shallow water. We got something to do some between 22 and 24 pounds. You much catch it, but with the lightning in the morning, thunder is just shake the area for a couple of hours during the tournament hours. So it was hard.
Should have had some deep water to have a backup plan, but we didn't. So we fished hard on our spot that we had.
The largemouth weren't necessarily an easy target. Teams would have to work hard and do a lot of running if they wanted to be rewarded with the right fish.
We fished all new water except for maybe one spot.
Every spot we caught fish was a new spot, a new area. So we covered a lot of water, and a lot of the traditional areas that we caught fish out here just didn't seem to really be holding fish, or they were quite small. So we were kind of forced to put our foot on the trolling motor and spend some time covering water, and luckily we ran into a few fish and it paid off for us.
Dave Chong's and Doug Brownridge's third place finish was a testament to the importance of being able to read the fish and to remain persistent.
We scramble well, we don't give up. We both had horrible pre-fishes, and it doesn't bother us. We just go out and do our thing and make it up. Yep, make it up on the fly.
Lenny DeVos and Jeff Delage tackled both the fast current and the smallmouth. Their bag failed to get them to the top spot, but they were still happy with the result.
That day went as planned. We gambled in a few areas, and the fish, kind of keyed in on what we wanted, and we were fortunate enough to get some nice fish, and we ended up second.
Blake Orr and Matt Tooley would be the ones to snatch the win from Lenny and Jeff. Their strong pre-fish showed them where they could find the right caliber of fish, and they succeeded in getting them to the boat.
We got a few nice ones right off the bat, and then that cell kind of went through and it downpoured to kind of shut the fish off, and we just started kind of running.
We felt we needed to do that. We didn't want to put all our eggs in one basket, one area, in case someone else or a number of teams were in that area. So I think that was part of why we were successful, is we just had different fish in different areas all over.
July 22nd would see the field gather on the Ottawa River, where teams would struggle hard with some of the worst fishing of the series.
We love the Ottawa River. Did I say that with a straight face?
Up and down, it was down for us, okay? So next subject?
Let's not talk about the Ottawa. Skip the Ottawa.
And we usually really like the Ottawa, but we'll skip that conversation.
Yeah, we only had 2 fish, and that was a tough day.
Skip it.
Sorry, we skipped it, sorry.
The Ottawa River is both a largemouth and smallmouth fishery, with potential to reward these teams with big fish, but it's also a difficult body of water to fish, even on a good day. River fishing tends to favor smallmouth bass, where fast-moving water may hold some hardy fish. The difficulty for some teams comes down to having to spend a day running around in hopes of finding the right fish. Other teams spent their time fishing back pockets, where abundant bait and warmer waters would attract predatory largemouth. High water levels continued to plague these anglers, and a large kill-off over the last number of years made for slim pickings when it came to the largemouth.
You must fish hard to get some 5, 6, 7 good bites in the Lochaber Bay, the Black Bay. And when you struggle, you go outside, flip on some arrowheads and the shore lines. But it was hard because nothing was the light practice, because it was like that. When it's sunny and flat day, I know it's going to be a hard day for us.
Ottawa was brutal. We're gonna go fish smallies because we couldn't get a largemouth to bite for the life of us. We salvaged the day, caught 5 fish, weighed in 9 pounds, which actually was decent for that day somehow. And we just needed to get out of there with 5, and we did.
Getting bass to the boat was further complicated by the number of pike that were biting in place of the bass teams were looking for. Teams were spending more time reeling in pike or replacing the bait they had torn off, making for an extremely frustrating day on the water. It was a challenging day on the water. To finish in the top 15, teams only needed 13 pounds.
We ended up getting about 13th in the Ottawa, and we were actually catching smallmouth in our largemouth spots on frogs. It was a crazy day, and at the end of the day I looked at Brian and said, "Do you actually have a smallmouth spot?" And we ran there and were able to get fish number 4 and 5 and cull a couple, and ended up putting up a decent weight for how the day went. But we made the adjustment late in the day and got through it.
It was another fun day. Got into a lot of smallies. We got into a pot of them, and it was just our day. And on that body of water, it's tough. It's tough to get 16 pounds on it.
Only 4 teams were able to bring in bags over 16 pounds, and 2 of those teams had already experienced top finishes this series.
We weren't really looking forward to the Ottawa River because of the high water and the floods and all that stuff this time during the spring, but we ended up with a 4th there. So according to our pre-fish, a 4th was like a win to us.
Lenny and Jeff's 4th place finish would put them in a very good position towards the team of the year, but it still wasn't guaranteed. Returning to a top position for the first time in the series was Charles Sim and Nigel Toohey, and the Ottawa didn't make it easy for them.
We probably only landed about 8 fish. We actually had a lot of options to fish. Nigel lives very close by, so he did most of the pre-fish, and a lot of things just kind of fell apart. We had a frog bite first thing in the morning, and that died really quickly. And then
we got on the wood.
Yeah, we got a good fish on wood, and then we just focused on wood, running to individual pieces of wood that we knew about, and scored 3 of our big fish like that.
Surprisingly, a 19.47-pound bag would take the win at the Ottawa. A bag belonging to Blake Orr and Matt Tooley, giving them back-to-back wins in the series and increasing their chances for the Team of the Year.
You're at the tubs waiting to weigh in, and you're standing beside Charles Sims and Lenny DeVos, and you're just like, you can't believe that you're actually competing against these guys, but you're actually competing with them, you know what I mean? And you're keeping up to them, and it's something that you dream your whole life, and this is a big deal for us.
Morrisburg was the location for the final qualifier of the 2017 season. This year, teams had a restriction placed on them due to the high water levels, limiting them to fish the St. Lawrence up to the Iroquois Dam, preventing them from running out to the lake. Teams would have to be content with staying on the river, with most of the teams chasing the current rather than locating structure. Q4 would be the final event, which determined which teams would move on to the Classic. A good day on the water was essential.
We had boat problems. We lost half a day. Boat broke down. We were stuck in Long Sault, but we still made the Classic.
Morrisburg was very tough. Very tough. And we thought coming into the launch at the end of the day, we said, I think we pushed ourselves out of contention, right? So we were pretty down about it. As people were tabulating the weights, he found out before it was announced that we did make the cut. So it was a very big relief, because we thought we were out of it.
Other teams were fishing for the win, running from spot to spot and fishing each drift over and over, hoping that 5 good fish would find their way into their wells. Would it be former tournament winners or local hometown favorites that took the Q4 title? Team 35 comes all the way from Quebec. They've been doing well during the series, but they just can't seem to get the top position.
It was those days that, there was our big area where it got nothing, and our backup plan got some big fish. So it was those days when there's a muskie on your spot, stuff like that.
We didn't do a whole lot of pre-fishing there, but the day we were there, we figured it out what we needed to do. We found them in the deep in that tournament, and we ended up in 4th. We had some nice fish.
Out on the water, Team 23 occupied the same line as Team 29, fighting for the same big fish. On stage, the battle was won by Chong and Brownridge by a little over 2 pounds.
We didn't get as many bites as we were hoping to on our main spot. I mean, we got good bites, but then we ended up losing a couple big fish. We broke off because the zebra mussels just shredded our line. So it was frustrating, but never quit. Keep fishing.
Andy Kinsler and Scott Leckie had a hometown advantage to overtake Chong and Brownridge, but their bag would miss the win by ounces.
And Morrisburg was good. We were second to Chong and Brownridge again there. It was a great day. We caught lots of big fish, and sometimes you catch like 2 5s or 1 big 5 and some 3s, but we had like 5 4-pound plus fish. We just didn't get that real kicker to beat them.
Chong and Brownridge would take the Q4 title, but their 23.99-pound bag wasn't nearly enough to take Lenny and Jeff's Team of the Year title.
We knew Lenny had to stub his toe to do it, and when we showed up beside him, call it at 11 o'clock, we were right on the same line, and we're like, no, we knew he had a good, well, he turned out 21-pound bag, so we knew he had a good day. And congratulations to Lenny, he deserves it. He had a great year. We said first, second, third, and fourth or something like that. That's ridiculous in 4 tournaments. I wish every year could be that good for anybody.
It's a dream season. It didn't seem like we could make a bad decision all year. Hopefully we can top it off with the win of the Classic.
The Team of the Year has been crowned, and the 40 teams that made it into the 2017 Renegade Bass Classic have been established. Teams can revel in the feeling that they've succeeded in making it through a pretty tough season of fishing.
Throughout the whole year, we didn't do bad, but we didn't do good. It was always in the middle of the pack. So our biggest thing was just make sure to get to the Classic.
It was my first season as Renegade, and it was our first season together.
The first tournament, you must
learn how to fish together.
Yeah, learn how to net, how to think, when practice, how to separate the lake. So it was a learning season for both of us for being together.
And this year the water's really lined up well for me. I like Cornwall-Morrisburg a lot. I like the Ottawa River a lot, and it just didn't work out. Some years it's like that. Not everybody's Lenny, so.
Location options for this year's Classic were drawn at the end of Q3, and it seems that teams would be getting a second go at Lake St. Francis. Teams will be battling it out for the biggest prize in Canadian fishing. The nice thing about a Classic is the field starts at 0.
First of all, you got 40 teams, and every one of those 40 teams is capable of winning.
It's real hard to win the Classic, let alone a qualifier event with this level of competitiveness.
When I'm choosing what series to fish, first thing I look at is return on investment. And Renegade has the best paybacks in my opinion, 100% payback, can't go wrong with that.
This tournament, the Classic, this biggest prize in Canada. $65,000 for 2 days of fishing. Rent your boat, Evinrude. Guys want to win this.
It's all about time on the water, and it's about a lot of, there is luck in there, Are your fish going to be there that you find in pre-fish? They can be gone overnight.
This weekend you have to be perfect. Everything has to go your way, because if not, somebody's going to pass you. There's so many great anglers here, so you know what I mean? As far as we're, this is it for us. It's as good as it gets.
Whatever accolades you have or successes are magnified, because you can have a lot of pride in what you've accomplished, because there are some crazy sticks in this tournament circuit.
It's okay for the boat, but I want to be the champion. Not for the boat, just to be the task champion in Renegade Bass, just on that.